Goliath will make XCN deflationary. 10% of all XCN Goliath transaction fees will be burned. So as you can see right here, guys, this is such a great tokenomic structure. One of the best tokenomic structures I've seen in the space, and this is why I always write home for XCN, that it has some great tokenomics. A lot of people aren't paying attention to stuff like this, but I've compared XCN's tokenomics to, like, for example, Solana, that is highly inflationary, and the voting system of Solana is not as decentralized as XCN is. There's someone in my comment section talking.
Also, just before we go any further, this channel has a giveaway of 1 million Shiba tokens. To enter, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, like this video, and comment hashtag Shiba Inu. Good luck.
Breaking down how, it's not XCN's, voting and, node validators aren't as decentralized, but they're aiming towards getting there. And in my opinion, if you compare it to Solana, Solana is way more centralized, right? And this is a project that is above 50 billion market cap, okay? So in my opinion, like I said, XCN has great tokenomics. In my opinion, decentralization is the way to go, because that way the investors have, a lot of the say in the direction where the project is going. And this right here, these burn mechanisms already puts it ahead of other layer ones, because a lot of layer ones, most of them are inflationary and don't have any type of deflation, right? So a burn mechanism where 10% of the network fees burn XCN is absolutely fantastic. A portion of transaction fees is permanently burned. 10% of network fees tracked on chain, gradual decrease over time, daily burn rate of 50,000 XCN, and an annual burn of 18 million, right? 20 billion burned historically, right? So utility and use cases, network operations, all transactions require XCN, just the smartest thing to do for L1s. Smart contracts, deployment and execution costs, file and data storage fees, right? Storage is a big thing. You see Filecoin that did extremely well in one of the previous cycles. Goliath enabling storage is bullish, is very bullish, right? Consensus service, Goliath mesh participation, DeFi applications, DEX pools, and AMMs. You need DeFi for any chain to be successful. Collateral lending and borrowing protocols, yield farming, liquidity mining rewards, backing for derivatives with synthetic assets, and of course privacy, private networks with node operation fees. When you run your nodes or validator nodes, you keep that private. Compliance tools, SLA guarantees, performance bonds, and of course premium support for Goliath. So this is extremely bullish. A lot of people are glossing over this fact. Again, the utility is there for XCN. The value is there. It's just, it hasn't seen, well, it has seen it before once, but after, the overall macro of the market started to turn more bearish, so did XCN, right? So if we take a look at the 1 year chart here, it's at 0.005091, just under 190 mil market cap, right? But things could change fast, because I really truly bet a lot of people thought XCN was done, in December of 2024. Everyone thought it was done, and then after that it went on to make just a massive move, right? It was sitting under 40 mil market cap and went all the way to 1 billion market cap. That is insane. That is an insane move, guys. From under 40 mil market cap to 1 billion market cap, and most people probably did not catch that move because they thought it was done down here, right? And that is how fast things could change in crypto. Now, like I said, I'm not telling you guys to overinvest here, because you never know what could happen. Things can go wrong, right? Any project in the space could go to zero, right? And XCN is one of those projects that is included. But I'm still saying some exposure is better than no exposure, right? 510 bucks in the XCN here gets you 100,000 tokens, right? I'm not telling you to buy 1 million tokens, just 100,000 tokens, right? 510 bucks. If something goes wrong, you could always, make that 510 bucks back if you got a job, you got to hustle something, right? And like I said, we're in peak bear right now. And, people think we're going to drop to 40K, less than 40K. it's gonna get a lot worse, right? If we don't, if the bottom isn't in quicker, and Bitcoin does the unexpected, right? Because I don't think it's people that are timing the bottom will time it correctly, because the bottoms, just like you can't time the tops, you can't time the bottoms. But we'll see how that plays out. But either way, you're supposed to dollar cost average into projects when we're in peak fear, right? We're in peak fear. This is the time you start buying some crypto, and that's how you reap the rewards. That's how you get the the 10x, 50x, 100x gains, right? So XCN is in that spot. One of those projects in that spot has the utility, etc., has a community that is still die hard, still active. So again, don't overinvest, buy a bag, don't worry about it. If obviously it could work for your bags, but again, if we could see a repeat of what happened at the end of 2024 for XCN, and next time we have a full-blown alt season with a ton of liquidity and all the great altcoins are doing well, if we're right here, it could be fantastic. And like I said, it's not guaranteed that we'll be right. So never invest more than you're willing to lose, right? So Jinx, imagine when XCN goes ISO 20022 compliant. That's when the conversation shifts from price to purpose, from speculation to infrastructure. Bookmark this. The chain team plans to work closely with Onyx DAO to ensure ISO 20022 compliance for the XCN L1 blockchain network, right? A few projects that I've mentioned that are, ISO compliant are, Quant, XRP, HBAR, XDC. I've talked about that on the channel. So for XCN to become ISO compliant as well, that's going to be extremely bullish, because that's when it gets integrated to the traditional banking system, right? Breaking from Cryptology. Sentiment on BitGet data shows daily outflows has collapsed for XCN, right? In other words, very little XCN leaves exchanges, indicating weak sell pressure. Likewise, CX inflows remain tiny. The lack of large on-chain outflows suggests whales are not dumping, rather accumulating. And again, smart to do what the whales do, right? My coworker's been talking me into buying XCN Altava. You see, this is what I like to see. His coworkers are telling him to buy some. So that means XCN has, that I don't want to say normie, because I think it's disrespectful, but it has a normie audience, right? Like for example, there's projects on Solana that normies do not know about. The normie coins are XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Quant. I think XCN is one of them, and ZBCN. But the one XCN, ZBCN, Quant, etc., are undervalued compared to like the XLMs and the HBARs. Those are already multi-billion-dollar projects, right? So XCN is extremely undervalued as a normie coin, right? So his coworkers are telling him to buy some. That is very bullish, because that means that there's people outside of the crypto bubble that just have regular lives, regular jobs, regular lives that they're living, and they got some exposure to the crypto market, right? And I wouldn't be surprised they also hold XRP, and they're like, yo, look at XCN as well, because it's kind of like XRP, and it has like this much better updated technology to it, right? So that is bullish. I love seeing stuff like that. Goliath mainnet is approaching. Less noise, more infrastructure, built for scale, security, and compliance, the things that matter when real capital shows up. This is the kind of upgrade you understand after it's live. XCN, right? A lot of people aren't paying attention, man. And this is why I say some exposure. This is my saying. They have a lot of sayings in crypto. Take profits, DCA, never invest more than you're willing to lose. My saying, which I never hear anyone else say, is some exposure is better than no exposure. Because guess what? If you have some exposure to the project and it does well, you make some money, right? If you have no exposure and it does well, you don't make any money, right? Now, obviously, like when you do that, obviously, there's no guarantee the project will do well, but you could say that for any other project. So you diversify, get some exposure to, some great assets, great altcoins, and then you be patient. See if you have, you're a part of the rocket ship, right? So excited for XCN Goliath. It's not too far for now, in my opinion, I will definitely shake stuff up in the crypto world. I'm so ready. Are you? The rise of a new era, Onyx, right? So great stuff to see, man. XCN in a great spot to DCA, like I said. 100,000 XCN is a great bet to make. As always, never invest more than you're willing to lose, guys. None of this is financial advice. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join my Discord. Link to that is in the description. And also go support the Clips channel. Go subscribe to that. Quick summary videos on all the videos that I make. And it really helps to support the main channel, right? So as always, thank you. And I'll catch you in the next one.